What's up guys, James here from Reflect the Screen. Today I go ahead and take a crack at Deadpool 2. As you saw, actually let me go grab it. Deadpool has been around for quite some time now, and this is the sequel to the first film by Tim Miller. The thing is, the first film is not bad. It's okay, it's there, it's just very forgettable, and it didn't hold up for me on a second viewing. So outside of the theater, it just wasn't that good. So I'm coming into the second one hoping to be swayed, hoping that maybe it's a more, more fluid story, something that isn't very over-bloated with half-hearted jokes, or you can only get so many butt jokes and stuff like that. It's just, that kind of humor appeals to me only sometimes. Now luckily for the sequel, it is better than the first. We're introduced to a couple new characters like Firefist, played by Julian Dennison, who's, well, he's known for Hunt for the Wilder People, but outside of that I don't know him too well, and Josh Brolin's Cable is pretty cool in this movie too. So Cable's on a quest for blood, he's coming after Deadpool, they fight, there's a bunch of, there's a bunch of action in this movie. So on the surface, the story doesn't sound that appealing, but believe me when I tell you that a huge positive for Deadpool 2 is that the story's more structured, which is really awesome. I think that this is a tighter story and there's more substance to be found. Now with that being said, of course this film is a lot longer, at least it feels a lot longer than the first film, and I think that's to make room for all the different story threads. So it's kind of neat to see them going in a more dynamic direction, and if they're gonna make a third one, which I'm pretty sure they're gonna make a third one, I think that the story is gonna have to be just as structured. Now director David Leitch, who did John Wick, brought over his talents to this film, and his presence was really known because there's a lot of close quarters action, and I felt great. I mean, there are sequences where I felt kind of claustrophobic, and I felt there with Deadpool. I mean, the fight choreography is amazing, and I saw it in John Wick too. I mean, David Leitch really just did a great job at kind of bringing over his touch to the Deadpool universe. Now, hey, the big draw for me in this movie was Cable, and I think Josh Brolin did a decent job as Cable. Really, it was Cable's tech, the CGI arm, the mechanical arm, and the gun that kind of just like floats and magnetizes on his back, and the shield and whatnot that he has. All that tech is really cool, and I think it's pretty engaging, especially when you see it come together in these fight sequences. Other than that though, I think he's decent. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is just as good as you remember him in the first one, but that kind of is it in terms of the acting department, which leads me into a couple of the downfalls for this film, and I think one of them is Julian Dennison, who plays Russell, or the mutant known as Firefist. It's a funny introduction, I'm warming up to his character, but then I just feel detached from Dennison's acting, and I feel like he's a bit annoying in moments. He's kind of just there, he's hovering over the film. It just didn't feel like he was even a part of the movie. Nothing kind of flowed with him, and him and Ryan Reynolds didn't really fit, I think, even though I feel like they would tell you they were great on set, but I just feel like the chemistry wasn't there like it was for Colossus and Ryan Reynolds, for example. Now, another character that I was really interested in was Domino, played by Zazie Beetz, and she seems to be pretty comfortable in her role, but the thing is, her character was just thrown to the side. I thought a lot of her moments were just kind of surface level stuff. I want to fight the bad guys too, and she makes some jokes. Some of them don't land. Actually, most of them unfortunately don't land, and that I put on the backs of the writers. But I don't feel her character was very layered, and I guess maybe she's not in the comics, but I don't know that because even though I do read Deadpool, I don't read it very often, and I'm not that crazy about the comics anymore. I feel like the humor, like the humor in the first film, it's got old for me a bit. So I wanted to know more about Domino, and that's not what I got from this movie. But speaking of awful things about this movie, boy, TJ Miller. I mean, the dude is not far from controversy, to be honest, outside of acting. So, the whole thing with right? Yeah, just Google him and you'll probably find it. But TJ Miller's character is reprised again. He's Ryan Reynolds' buddy. They're, always kind of like talking about crime. They're putting together a team in this one. You see it in the trailers, but TJ Miller's awful. His jokes don't land. The one-liners are horrible. His situations are just not funny at all. And I think that, to be completely honest, we could do without him if there's a Deadpool 3. Also, I feel like the CGI was very middle of the ground. It was either really bad or just okay. There was never good CGI. I think that they put a lot of their money into Cable, and while that was passable, that was fine. I think that, boy, There's a reveal in this movie, and the CGI on that character is awful. It is so bad and distracting. And while the story was more structured and I feel like the dialogue was a bit smoother, it was kind of rough around the edges in terms of the latter half of the film. I did not really like the dramatic appeal to this movie. A lot of my friends were saying, oh my god, it brought me to tears. Pump your brakes, kids. It's not even that emotional. I didn't even get choked up. Now, if I were to have to compare it to the first, like I said, it's a better film, but I think, after spending a week thinking about this, both films are just as forgettable. While the first one's a little bit funnier and that this one's a better film, I feel like both Deadpools are just going to be forgotten for me by the end of the year. I'm not gonna rush out to see this a second time. The movie itself is very one and done. That's probably the best way to put it. This film, you see once, shock value is there, oh my god, funny. Then you see it again and you predict everything because you've seen it, you know what's coming up next, and I think that takes away from the draw of the film. So while Ryan Reynolds is most likely gonna succeed, especially at the box office domestically, I think that Deadpool, it's already feeling like it's running its course, and that's never a good thing, especially in just one sequel. There you have it, guys. Deadpool 2 is not a film you rush out for. I'm sure if you love the first one, you'll love this one, but for me, who was on the fence after seeing the first one a couple times, this didn't do anything to remedy my feelings, and I think I'm still lingering on that fence. Well guys, if you enjoyed what you saw here, go ahead and give this video a like. Let me know what you think of Deadpool 2 in the comments, and if you want to see more content from me and Reflect the Screen, go ahead and click the subscribe button. But there are things I post that aren't in front of the camera, so go ahead to reflectthescreen.com for some more news articles and different trailers, posters, and all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you at the next screening.